Operating our Junior and Cadet Fencing World Championships, a 9-day, 18-event competition where kids from all over the world, teenagers, are here competing for the first time in over a year. We didn't have them last year because of the pandemic, and this year we're operating under very strict protocols for COVID and the pandemic. We're operating in a sort of conceptual bubble where everyone, athletes, coaches, bus drivers, waiters, officials, everyone is staying in the hotels and can only be in the hotels, official hotels, and the venue can't go even out on the street, have to be on official transportation. And we're doing it so that we can be sure we stay healthy and the kids stay healthy and everybody stays healthy, and then we can keep fencing going.
Yeah, there's a strict testing protocol. Everybody's testing. Every 72 hours, once they get here, they test, arrive. So it's a stringent protocol, and it's been working so far. And
Right.
hopefully it'll keep working.
Everybody's socially distancing, wearing masks, of course, and that's being rigidly enforced. So now we're into the 4th day of competition. We're going, we had 3 days of saber, cadet, junior, then cadet, then junior team. Same with foil. We had a day of junior foil yesterday. Today we have cadet foil. Tomorrow we have junior team. And then we'll move on to epee for the last 3 days in the same format. Junior, cadet, then junior team. And that makes up the 9 days and the 18 events.
First action, fair repost from COJOCARI is off target, no touch. You saw the referee asking Miss COJOCARI to get her hair up so that she's not covering target with her hair. Fair repost from the Russian, Miss BEZNOSIKOVA. We're getting this feed live from the Egyptian television crew, being broadcast across the country. Touch from Miss BEZNOSIKOVA, fair repost. Tap from Miss BEZNOSIKOVA brings it up to 3-0.
So seeing someone here from Moldova, that's a little bit unusual. We don't see too many fencers making the final rounds from Moldova, do we?
No, but we have referees from Moldova at the highest level in foil, and one of our representatives from arbitrage who's working this event is her mother, actually, from what I've been told. So she comes from a lineage of fencers.
Of course, now, the way this works, for those of you who are tuning in and maybe don't know too much about fencing, this is foil, one of the 3 weapons, and the objective is to hit the other person with the tip of your point, so it's called a point and thrust weapon, to hit on the vest, or what we call the lamé. It's an electrically conductive garment. If you hit on the legs or the arms or the mask, that's considered off target, and it will set off a white light on the scoreboard, just like that, which means that it's not valid, not a valid touch, but it does stop the action. The objective is to hit that vest, in which case you would get either a red or a green light, depending on which side of the strip you're on. And if it's a single light, then that means that that person got a hit and it's valid. So if the fencer on the right hits and the fencer on the left and the red light goes off, then that means they have a touch. Now, if they both hit at the same time and they both have a colored light that goes off, the red and the green, then the referee makes a call as to who had the right of way.
Direct attack. So the right of way is defined as the fencer who, if these were real weapons, who would have actually initiated the attack and been able to arrive and score. The logical man or woman rule is used to determine if the counteraction would have been effective in preventing the person from hitting in the right tempo and time to allow that person to stay alive.
So now we're into a 1 minute break. These elimination rounds, including the semifinals and finals, are made up of up to three 3-minute periods with a 1 minute break after each. So there could be 2 1 minute breaks. So 3 minutes, then a minute break, then 3 minutes, then another minute break, and then the end. The objective is to get either to 15 points or to be ahead at the end of the 3 periods. So right now we're in the first break of 1 minute with the Russian ahead by 3 points, and then we'll be coming into the second period. And of course there's different strategies for how you deal with whether you're ahead or behind and where you are in the timing. And that makes up some of the interesting strategies and complexities of fencing, which of course is one of the oldest Olympic sports, was there in 1896 when the Olympics began.
One of the original 4 Olympic sports.
And in fact, Mr. Coubertin, the founder of the modern day Olympics, was a fencer himself.
So now we'll see what kind of advice the coaches are able to give to the fencers to see if it'll change the actions, the tactics, and ultimately the results.
And you know, with fencing, as I had mentioned earlier, there are 3 weapons. There's foil, épée, and saber. Saber is typically fast and explosive. Épée is usually patient and defensive, and foil is sort of in the middle.
Absolutely.
It's not as fast as saber, not as sort of slower and determined as épée. It's interesting. I think in foil is where you see the most contortive actions. You see, a lot more body twisting and almost a gymnastic kind of behavior by the athletes, more so in foil than you do in the other 2 weapons.
Definitely more than saber. I'm not sure if that's always true now in épée. Some of the faster épée fencers, you see a lot more of the infighting that you used to have seen.
Yeah, you'll see around the back hit and things like that. But I still think that, case in point is last night's arrow. Young lady who has a signature move in foil where she backs down on one knee and is a very, very extremely effective move.
See them trying to get a light on and a little bit of...
Yeah, the Russian with a very strong lead of 7-1.
Making the attack effectively, able to get her point on target.
And, sometimes a left-handed fencer will have an advantage. It's easy to underestimate the distance with them because they're a little bit closer to you than you think they are.
The other factor that lefties tend to have is that you're not, depending on how often you fence them, you're not necessarily used to the lines that you have to go to. They're naturally closing the outside just by the placement of their blade.
Mm-hmm.
The referees have gone back to look at the action as you see the replay. Fair repost stands, keeping the score at 2-7.
Interestingly, you know, Ms. Beniskova is she's ahead by a lot and has made quite a few points in this first minute and a half or so. And in the last round we saw in the quarterfinals, they had 2 passivity calls where, you know, they were well into the second round and barely had any points. She's definitely fencing a different game right now.
Yeah, fencing to your opponent, knowing what your strengths are, and then a lot of that is how willing your opponent is to engage.
She made the quarterfinals last year in the European Cadet Women's Foil Championships, actually losing to the eventual Italian winner. And Miss COJOCARI, she fenced the junior foil, women's foil event yesterday and came in 55th, not too shabby.
Not considering the strength of that field. It was a very strong, both women's and men's fencing, and the level was extremely high.
Right. She had some really close bouts today in the 16 and in the 8. They were all one-touch wins.
But that also means she spent a lot more time on the strip than possibly her opponent, except for that last bout. They were on the piece for quite a period of time, with it ending right at the minute, or the end of the third period. Looks like we're getting ready to go into the third period here.
Yeah.
Clock running out.
Still one of those matches that may go the full 3 periods.
Well, a lot of it depends on, once again, you know, you get this break, you get the chance to consult with your coach. They can give you advice to, you know, and right now the Moldovan coach is definitely identifying, okay, this is what she's doing, this is what you can do against it, this is where your strengths are, this is how you can overcome, you know, this 4-point deficit that you have to overcome just to get it even, let alone to move it forward.
And if you're the Russian coach, you're telling your student, maybe keep doing what you're doing, it's working.
Or on the actions that she's not getting her touches on, if you do this, then these will be even more effective.
Right.
Seeing some of the highlights from the previous period.
Maybe also to be aware that coming out of the break, you might see your opponent trying something different, and to have your guard up, because they may come back with a different strategy that you know, to try and do something to make it work. So you got to be aware that something else might be happening.
Well, we can already see that Ms. COJOCARI is being a little bit more aggressive, pressing her a lot more. We didn't see a lot of action down at the Russians' end of the piece. BEZNOSIKOVA holding her off, unable to put her point on.
Well, she wants to set it up, right? She's pushing, but she's not pushing so hard that she's going to just throw it away. So she's being careful. She's looking for the opening. She's looking for the chance to maybe make a false attack and then use it. She was in the territory there, but just didn't quite have enough to get right in there and hit. But her point was right on target.
A little different pace than the first period. Well, once again, able to make a pair of reposts, pick the blade up, and put the point on target.
Well, Anastasia has good point control, and she's on target. She's not giving up her guard.
Catches her with a counter thrust on her march. expanding her lead to 6. Returns the favor with a pair of repos.
And another point for the Moldovan.
Pair of repos. Doing what lefties do so well. Close that outside line.
So we're about just a little bit more than a minute away from the end of this match. The Moldovan needs 6 points to tie it up, which is going to be a rough one.
She's got about a minute to do it.
In the pace of this match, she's going to have to work pretty hard, and now it's just one more point. 11-4 for the Russian going to 15.
BEZNOSIKOVA has absolutely no reason to rush. The clock is her friend. And COJOCARI is not pressing.
No, I think she's... well, that was a good touch.
Nice setup.
The setup took a little long. If she's going to do 6 of those, she won't have time.
Well,
it's a situation where the Russians, they both attacked, they both hit, but the Russian hit off target, and the Russian would have had the hit had she been in a valid target area.
Nice action.
Nice repost by COJOCARI. 9 seconds left. Single point with 2 seconds left on the clock for the Russian, taking it to 12-6. And there we have it. Anastasia BEZNOSIKOVA advanced.